Welcome to the first meeting of the new council term 2020 to 2024 and the meeting for the election of the Mayor. My name's Alison Beckwith and I'm the Chief Executive Officer. This is an ordinary meeting of council. However, as it is a meeting to elect the Mayor, it is considered an extraordinary meeting. The meeting has been advertised to commence at 7 p.m. Thank you for tuning in tonight and joining us for this evening. Due to current directions from the Chief Health Officer and limits due to COVID-19, we are unable to welcome the public to the meeting tonight. The council meeting will be live streamed via our website and Facebook pages so that you can participate in the meeting. Face masks are required to be worn at all times by councillors and staff. However, we can remove them when we are speaking for the live broadcast purposes. The general election was held on the 24th of October 2020, and on the 6th of November, Banyul's election manager from the Victorian Electoral Commission declared the results of the elections, being in the Bakewell ward, Mark De Pasquale, in the Beale ward, Elizabeth Neely, in Charlesworth ward, Alita McKern, in the Griffin ward, Peter Castaldo, in the Grimshaw ward, Rick Garotti, in the Hordern ward, Fiona Mitsinikos, in the Ibbott ward, Tom Malikan, in the Sherborne ward, Alison Champion, and in the Olympia ward, Peter Dimorales. This evening, we are also joined by the directors of the council, being Kath Brackett, Director of Community Programs, Jeff Glynn, Director of Assets and City Services, Mark Gilio, Director of Corporate Services, Scott Walker, Director of City Development, and also Gina Burden, Manager of Governance and Communications. Also participating and assisting with the meeting tonight is our support crew, being members of the Governance, IT and our Jets team, coordinating our live stream this evening. I'd like to acknowledge tonight the outgoing Mayor and Deputy Mayor. So before we continue with the remainder of the meeting, I would like to acknowledge the former Mayor, Councillor Alison Champion, and the former Deputy Mayor, Rick Garotti. And on behalf of Banyul, I would like to thank them. Item 6.5 on this evening's agenda will be a formal report of acknowledgement and will occur later in the evening. But now I would just like to present each of you, Alison and Rick, a small gift of appreciation for your contribution and leadership over the past 12 months. So if you can make your way up here, thanks. So we'll have an opportunity later when that item's heard for us to have others thank the Mayor and Deputy for their contribution. So we'll continue on with the formalities of the meeting now. So our meeting is being held on the traditional land of the Wurundjeri Wurrung people, and on behalf of Banyul City Council, I wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians. I would also like to pay my respects to the Wurundjeri Wurrung elders, past, present and emerging, and to acknowledge other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders joining us today. At its meeting on the 27th of July 2020, Council endorsed the use of a diversity statement for a trial period from August 2020 to July 2020. I will just read this out now. Banyul is a diverse community made up of people from different cultures, beliefs, abilities, bodies, ages, sexualities, genders and identities. Council is committed to inclusion, access and equity for everyone. These principles foster cohesiveness, empower people and improve the well-being of the Banyule community. Apologies and leave of absence. Are there any apologies or leaves of absence tonight? No. Disclosures of interest. Under Section 129G of the Local Government Act 2020 and the Local Government Governance and Integrity Regulations 2020, the following matters are prescribed to be exempt from conflict of interest requirements. A, the nomination or appointment by the council of a councillor to a position for which the councillor will not be remunerated. B, the nomination or appointment by the council of a councillor to a position in the Municipal Association of Victoria or in another body that has the purpose of representing the interests of council. The nomination of a councillor for election to the office of Mayor or Deputy Mayor. So now moving to the agenda for tonight. The first item of business is item 6.1, and that's the oath and affirmation of office. Before being capable of acting as a councillor, all persons elected to be councillors must take the oath or affirmation of office. Until each of these requirements has been completed, an elected person cannot act as a councillor. The oath of office declaration must be signed and dated by a councillor before the Chief Executive Officer and recorded in the council minutes. The councillors were formally sworn in to office before me on Monday the 9th of November. As part of tonight's proceedings, the councillors will publicly restate their oath or affirmation of office prior to any other business being held tonight. Each councillor will stand and read their declaration. We will begin with Grimshaw Ward, Rick Garotti.
I, Councillor Rick Garotti, swear by Almighty God I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the municipal community. I will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor. Bakewell Ward, Councillor Mark De Pasquale.
I, Councillor Mark De Pasquale, swear by Almighty God I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the municipal community. I will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor. And Beer Ward, Councillor Elizabeth Neely.
I, Councillor Elizabeth Neely, swear by Almighty God I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the municipal community. I will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor. And Charlesworth Ward, Councillor Alida McKern.
I, Councillor Alida McKern, promise by Almighty God I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the municipal community. I will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor. And Grissom Ward, Councillor Peter Castaldo.
I, Councillor Peter Castaldo, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm I will undertake the duties of Office of Councillor in the best interest of the municipal community. I will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor. And Horton Ward, Councillor Fiona Mitsinikos.
I, Councillor Fiona Mitsinikos, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm I will undertake the duties of the Office of Councillor in the best interests of the municipal community. I will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor. And in Ibbott Ward, Councillor Tom Malikan.
I, Councillor Tom Malikan, swear by Almighty God that I will undertake the duties of the Office of Councillor in the best interests of the municipal community. I will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct and uphold the standards and conduct set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out the exercise and the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor. And in Sherborne Ward, Councillor Alison Champion.
I, Councillor Alison Champion, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the Office of Councillor in the best interests of the municipal community. I will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and under any other act to the best of my skill and my judgment.
Thank you, Councillor. And in Olympia Ward, Councillor Peter Dimiliris.
I, Councillor Peter Dimorales, swear by Almighty God I will undertake the duties of the Office of Councillor in the best interests of the municipal community. I will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct and uphold the standard of conduct set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor. As you can see, that's a very important process for tonight and something that shows the commitment and dedication to the group as their role of councillor for serving the community of Banyule. I'd now like to open up to any councillor that would like an opportunity to speak on this item. Councillor Tom Malikan.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the community for supporting us as councillors and providing this city, I think, with a great leadership team, a great bunch of people. I think we've already spoken to each other and we've met informally, and I think we've got a fantastic team here. I think we have some real people coming on board with very good knowledge, great enthusiasm and a real thirst for knowledge, but also an enthusiasm to do the best they can for each other and the city. And I think this council has been served very well in the past by good council, and I think we've got a great future to look forward. And I'd really like to congratulate all the other councillors on their achievement of becoming councillors. Looking forward to working with them. Being elected on council is quite daunting. It's quite frightening. It takes a brave person to put their name forward, because you open yourself up for ridicule, you open yourself up for all sorts of things. And it's quite daunting to do that. And for people to do that, go through that process and be successful, shows that they have real character, they have the ability to talk to people and connect with people. So it's not easy to get elected onto council, but it is something worth doing, and I congratulate every other councillor on their achievement. Really looking forward to working with you all. But I think we're in a really good position. I'm really looking forward to the next 4 years.
Thank you, Councillor Melican. Is there any other councillor? Councillor Di Pasquale?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, just would like the opportunity to mention a few things that are probably going on in the minds of the community out there tonight. Yes, we are a team of 9 now, so I think the community is going to be interested to see how we work, where before we were 7. So there's a few things there that we need to manage as a larger team. Looks like we've come together pretty well already, so very happy to report that. Also, the community will be seeing that there are 4 new councillors that are sitting here this evening. That's a new thing in the history of Banyule. We don't generally have that many new councillors, but obviously because we do have 2 new wards, that's obviously opened up to the greater numbers. And also, and very interestingly as well, we have 4 ladies on council now, so it's very, very exciting. I think, we've been in conversations as, for myself the last 2 terms, and the conversation regularly comes up. And our previous mayor, Councillor Champion, was often asked by the community, etc., why can't you get more ladies onto council? Why can't we have representatives? So we have 4 out of the 9 being ladies. So it's very exciting for the community, I think. We have a great representation, all areas of our municipality, and all levels of experience, age. It looks like a great team. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Neely?
Thank you. Just as a new councillor, I just wanted to say it's a pleasure to be elected by the people of Beale Ward, and I'm excited to represent them over the next 4 years. It's a bit of a bonus that I live in the ward and work in Beale Ward, and it's been great, I guess, getting to know people via Zoom, unfortunately not in person, over the past few months. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank my family, my friends, and everyone who volunteered and went out of their way to support me. There was lots to do. There was letterboxing, there was putting up signs, lots and lots of meetings over the phone, Zoom meetings. Campaigning, I just like to mention, during lockdown was not easy for any of the candidates. Being part of the community means meeting the community, and not having that opportunity was difficult. But from this point, encouraging community consultation and regular consultation is something that I would love to see even more in Banyule. Just 2 quick acknowledgements. I'd like to pay tribute to Wayne Phillips for his long stint on councillor. He was councillor for many years and mayor. And like Councillor Di Pasquale said, I'd also like to acknowledge 4 women on council, which makes it even more representative of our community, and I'm excited to be part of this team. Just finally, I guess a great way to get to know your ward is through letterboxing, because going up and down every single street, you see a lot, you appreciate the landscape, the facilities that are available, and it gives you some ideas on how you can improve the area if you get the opportunity. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity. I look forward to getting to know all the councillors well, and also the senior council staff to work together to improve the city of Banyule. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Champion.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to acknowledge the candidates who ran. I understand there were 52 of us altogether running this year, which was a large number for Banyule. 52 minus 9, what's that, 43? So that's 43 candidates who ran and were not elected. So I would like to acknowledge everything that they have done, their journey, their processes, whatever they put in place to attempt to win or attempt to be elected. It's a lot of hard work, and you do need the faith of your community above anybody else to achieve this position. So I do particularly want to acknowledge their actions and their time and their interest and all that they have done to attempt to achieve this role. And there is always 2024.
Thanks. And Councillor Castaldo.
It's a great honour to be here and be re-elected. I have the support and know that I have the support of the community. It's been a difficult election period for a number of reasons, given the significant restrictions in place from COVID-19 and having 2 young children, 3 years old and 1 year old. As any parent would know, it's challenging, and a heavily contested election. I had a tremendous team of people supporting me that I'd gotten to know over my first term on council, and others that I've known for many years, and they all played different roles in supporting me to be once again the councillor for Griffin Ward. I would like to thank the residents who voted for me and welcome those that didn't to contact me and let me know where I can improve. I would like to thank my friends in the Greens Party who I'm a member of and for their support, and my fellow candidates who supported me over the election period. Most importantly, I'd like to thank the tremendous contribution of my partner, who I have no doubt was the only reason I'm here today and for being the person I am now. Her tireless work in the background, advising me and supporting me through the whole way and doing so much to look after our family and keep us going through this stressful period. I say thank you. We achieved much on council over the last 4 years, the delivery of Ivanhoe Library, the community hub, which is going to be open soon, Mandatory Heights in Ivanhoe, and the amazing new playground in Ivanhoe Park I'm particularly fond of. There are many exciting projects coming over this term and a number of important areas I will be putting significant time into. Planning and the future enhancement of our neighbourhood character, delivery of efficient and high-quality services our community wish to enjoy, and addressing the immediate challenging times as a result of COVID-19, considering how to bring our community together and adapting council support to those that need it most. It is sad to see some departures, and especially a good friend of mine, Craig Langdon, that worked tirelessly and effectively for his much-loved community. There is definitely a new and exciting feel to the new council, who I'm very excited to work with moving forward. I would like to thank the passing Mayor Alison Champion for her leadership over the last year and look forward to the new Mayor that's to be elected this evening. There are many exciting times ahead to look forward to in our beautiful city, and I look forward to getting out there again and connecting with our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McKern.
I am honoured and humbled to be the elected representative for Chelsworth Ward. 12 candidates running for Chelsworth. The only other council where I believe there were more were in Wyndham, where there were 48 candidates running for one of the wards. So goodness knows how that got sorted out. I'm sure it did. I also wish to publicly thank and acknowledge my family, friends, and everyone who supported my campaign to be here tonight. Special thanks goes to my manager, both in life and campaign, Ian McKern, and special thanks also goes to Michael Smith and Sue Corse. And without them, I don't think I'd be here. The Greens team, of which I too am a member, I'm very grateful to, both the team in State Office and Banyule Branch. I believe we can harness the tremendous spirit of cooperation shown by our community during the COVID pandemic to support the recovery of our community. There are also a number of priorities that I've been elected to support, which I won't go through now, but all those supporters who did vote for me will know them because they received many pamphlets from me reiterating what I know to be important for Chelsworth residents and Banyule residents. I look forward to working with my fellow councillors, Council's executive team and Council staff to make Banyule City the best it can be. Thank you.
Thank you. And would any other councillor like to speak to this item? No? Okay. It's really important that we capture this moment in the meeting minutes for tonight's meeting. So I ask for a mover for this item, Mark Di Pasquale. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Champion. Would Councillor Di Pasquale like to speak to the item?
No, thank you.
Would the seconder like to speak to the item?
No, thank you.
Any other councillors wish to speak to the item? I now put that motion. I now put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare that motion carried. Congratulations, councillors. We'll now move to item 6.2, which is the mayoral term. So this item is to determine the mayoral term. I call for a mover. Councillor Champion has moved the item. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Malikan. Councillor Champion, as the mover of the item, would you like to speak to the item?
I don't think I need to speak to this item. Thank you for asking, though.
Thank you. As Councillor Malikan, as the seconder, would you like to speak to the item? No. Any other councillors wish to speak to this item? No. I now put the motion. All those in favour? Yes. All those against? I declare that motion carried. The next item is the election of the Mayor. The office of the Mayor became vacant at 6 a.m. on the day of the general election on the 24th of October 2020. Under the Local Government Act 2020, the election of the Mayor must be chaired by the CEO. I now call for nominations for the Mayor until the 8th of November 2021. Councillor Champion.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Rick Garotti as the next Mayor of Banyule.
And do I have a seconder? Tom Malikan. So, Councillor Garotti, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, CEO, I'll accept the nomination.
Are there any more nominations for the mayoral position? As there has been only one nomination, I declare Councillor Garotti elected as the Mayor of Banyule Council. Please join me in congratulating Councillor Garotti. The Mayor will now take his seat next to me. The Mayor will proceed with the rest of the business on the agenda tonight. However, firstly, we might give the Mayor an opportunity, if he would like, to say some words in relation to him just being elected the new Mayor of Banyule City Council.
Thank you. Thank you for that, CEO. It's a tremendous honour and privilege to be elected as our Mayor for the City of Banyule for the coming year. I'd just like to start off with some thank yous. Firstly, a big thank you to my wife, Nos, and our daughters, Claudia and Gabrielle. Family is everything to me and they've been an enormous support. My parents, Helen and Alvin, and our family, friends and extended support network. And many of you know that I've been in touch and very, very grateful for all of your support, not only during the campaign, but in our lives. I'd like to thank my fellow councillors for the enormous trust that you've put into me this evening to assume the role as our Mayor of the City of Banyule. It's an enormous privilege and I'm very, very grateful that you've given me the opportunity to step up and lead in this role. And finally, I'd like to say a very big thank you to the people of the Grimshaw ward. One, thank you very much for entrusting me for the next 4 years to be your local ward councillor. But I think in the 24 years now in the City of Banyule, this is the first time that the people of the Grimshaw ward will have as their ward councillor the Mayor. And I'm enormously privileged and grateful to be in that role. And I'll live up to that position, not only for the people of the Grimshaw ward, but for the entire City of Banyule. So thank you very much to all those that I've mentioned. In terms of taking on the role, I suppose I've reflected a little bit on the example that has been set by others. And in the last term of council, I was very privileged to serve under 4 mayors, Councillor Champion, Councillor Di Pasquale, Councillor Malikan and Councillor Phillips. And I just reflected that, you know, if I look at in terms of the 3 former mayors that are here this evening, the very natural way that Councillor Malikan engages with the community and just naturally builds trust and relationships and draws people in, I think is just truly remarkable and inspirational. If I look at the year that Councillor Di Pasquale assumed the role, just the level of professionalism that was brought to the role, the weekly meetings that were had with the CEO and the ward councillor to make sure that business was conducted effectively and efficiently. And I think a really big success that year was the introduction of the CRM, Councillor Inbox process, which really streamlined the way that we service our community and make sure that residents get the advice and support they need. And finally, last year, in what was an enormous privilege and honour to be a deputy mayor to Councillor Champion, I was just remarkable, found it tremendously remarkable about the natural way in which Councillor Champion was the conductor of our orchestra. And she empowered all of us. And I think that she gave an opportunity and platform for all of us to step up and shine. She really demonstrated that being the leader means empowering, promoting and encouraging. And I don't think without that leadership and support and the learnings I experienced as a deputy mayor, I really think that that has positioned me to be able to step up to that role. And I look at that leadership and I say thank you, and you've been a tremendous role model to me. Thank you. Look, we're ready to go as a council. it is back to business as a group of councillors and as a council. Under the leadership of our former mayor, we convened together over the weekend. So the 9 of us got together, we met each other, we met each other's families, we had a conversation around our priorities and aspirations. We've really come together very quickly as a group, and I think based on the conversations and the dialogue, the way that we're looking at our committee structures, the way that we're talking about the issues and priorities that are important to us all as a council, we're demonstrating already that we have a very strong and unified and supportive culture that's going to deliver tremendous value for the city of Banyule. And so I'm just so thrilled and so excited to come on board as our mayor during this time and to be working with a group of 8 other councillors that are committed, engaged, intelligent, but as I said, most of all, ready to go and ready to work. We know that there's enormous challenges out there in the community at the moment. We know that individuals and families and businesses need all the support they can to get back to normal. And we're here to say, and we're here to tell you as a council, that we're ready to go, we're ready to work, we're ready to serve, and I'm ready to do that as your mayor. Thank you, councillors, thank you, CEO, and thank you, gallery. I'm used to concluding speeches and not having to continue on with the rest of the agenda. I might invite an opportunity for any other comments from councillors. Councillor Champion.
Thank you, Councillor. It's Mayor now, isn't it? Mr Mayor. Get to call you Mr Mayor. So it's been my privilege to work with you as my deputy in the last year and during my time as Mayor. And as I said in the last meeting of last term in September, Rick was my rock during many challenging times. And he was always available when I needed his advice or when I simply needed a sounding board. And I've really appreciated that you have stepped up into the leadership role, however that has been. And you have clearly demonstrated that you are very capable of leading a team and being at a higher level. So I'm very proud to call you my mayor.
Councillor Di Pasquale.
Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity. So just acknowledging that it is Deputy Mayor that then has to step up a little bit on behalf of the council laws to raise to that level, and then obviously put yourself forward for Mayor. And look, I think if we look at a track record with regards to yourself being on council now 2 terms, serving your community exceptionally well. Representing yourself and also the community during the recent election very convincingly. And then also supporting our entire team and our mayor in the most difficult times we have ever had and probably will ever have. My head was spinning at the start of this year with regards to the decisions that had to be made and everything that needed to be done for our community. And I did see yourself and our mayor pull together with our CEO. You put in a lot of time, you put in a lot of effort, and the community is at the benefit of it now because we are a team of 9 and we are ready to go. And there is going to be no break over Christmas. There is no, champagne or anything like that. We're already looking into committees. We're already looking into reviews. We've already been talking to our directors, our CEO, about what are the next steps. So we have a briefing on Monday. We have a council meeting the week after that. So we're already going. And that's already under your leadership as deputy and now stepping up as mayor. So good luck this year. I'm expecting a good year. I'm expecting big learnings from our entire team, you included. So, yes, I'm really looking forward to it. And I think the community can just sit back, relax, and really know that we've got the team to continue to take us through 2021. Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Tom Malikan.
Yeah, I won't say too much. I'd just like to congratulate you on your appointment. I think it's very well earned. I'm very pleased that we've done this tonight. I think it'll be a great year. I'm looking forward to supporting you. Looking forward to what initiative you bring, but I think it'll be a great year and I congratulate you. And when you said you're the first councillor from Grimshaw Ward to be elected mayor, I've never reflected on that before, but that's a significant achievement and I congratulate you. It's good that it's shared around, but I've never really considered that as a selection criteria for who would you think would be mayor, but it's fascinating when you look at it that way. Yeah, but I'm really looking, I think we elected you mayor not because you're the councillor for Grimshaw Ward. We elected you for mayor because you're Rick Garotti, and I think you'll do an outstanding job, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, and I know your parents well, and I know they'd be particularly proud of you tonight. And it's a great pity they can't be here to share this moment with you. And you're same as Noz and your family. It's a great pity they can't be here, because being appointed mayor doesn't happen that often, and it's a great thing to do, great experience, and it's a great pity you can't share it with those you hold dearest. So hope you enjoy the year and yeah, looking forward to it, but it is a pity that we have to do it under these circumstances.
Councillor Castaldo.
I'd just first like to congratulate Councillor Rick Garotti, who's now our mayor. His tremendous work over the last term. This is his third term, I believe, and the first time he's had the opportunity to take on this leadership role. There's no one that I think is more deserving of this role than him. The level of leadership, contribution, whether he was in that role or not, has been exceptional in my view, and I look forward to everything he has to contribute to our council and our community in this coming term. And he is an exceptional councillor from everything I've seen since working with him. So I'm very excited to have him in this role.
There's no other speakers. We'll move on to the next item of business. Item 6.4, consideration of nominations for Deputy Mayor. I now call for nominations for the Deputy Mayor.
Mayor, may I please nominate Councillor Malikan as our Deputy Mayor?
And do we have a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Castaldo. Councillor Tom Malikan, do you accept the nomination? Are there any more nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor? As there is only one nomination, I hereby declare Councillor Tom Malikan elected as our Deputy Mayor. Congratulations. Do we have any speakers to the item? Councillor De Pasquale.
Thank you, Mayor, and congratulations, Councillor Malikan, as our Deputy Mayor. I'm sure you will have a great year as well in support of our Mayor, and it's going to be a big role. I think this, Deputy Mayor normally is, you sit in the background a little bit. You sort of take the lead when the Mayor might be away, or having a little bit of difficulty, or needs a bit of a break, or help with a meeting or something like that. But now I think with the Council of 9 and everything we have to do, I think the Deputy Mayor is going to be a bit of a larger role. Now, as a group, I think we came to consensus that we do need as much experience on our leadership team as possible. And I'm not meaning that in any way that you have the most experience of our team, but you do. And that experience is what we're calling on this year. We are calling on that experience from yourself. We are also calling on that experience from our Mayor Garotti. So, this is a year that our community really does need good leadership. It needs a really cohesive team. We all know what happens on councils when council doesn't get along. Okay, things just don't happen the way that they potentially should happen, and the community is left wanting and needing more. And that's not going to be Banyule. So, I'm in full support of you being our Deputy Mayor, and I'll be doing everything I possibly can to make sure that you're the support that you need to be for our Mayor and for the rest of our councillor team. Thank you, Councillor Malikan, for taking it on.
Any other speakers? Councillor Malikan.
Yeah, thank you. Being Deputy Mayor is an important role, and I look forward to working for all the councillors, and I'd like to thank them for their support tonight. And in the past, being Deputy Mayor at Banyule normally indicated that the Mayor in waiting, but that's certainly not the case. Being Mayor is a privilege and an honour, but it's something that must be earned. And we have 4 new councillors and 5 current or previous councillors. And I'm really looking forward to watching everyone grow and develop and create that teamwork and demonstrating their leadership capacity so that this time in 12 months we can choose the person that we think will be the best leader in the next year of the council. And I think that puts us in a wonderful position that we're all doing our best, we're all trying to achieve for each other, and we're all working as well as we can. And it's fantastic we have 4 new people with a diverse range of skills and talents and experiences, and we're in a wonderful position to really leverage on those new ideas, that new energy and that new focus. So really looking forward to the year. I think I've got on quite well, very well, sorry, I shouldn't say quite well, with Councillor Grotti in the past. And so very well, and I'm looking forward to it because Rick brings a range of talents that I just don't possess, and it's always wonderful to see someone exercise those skills and knowledge and experiences, and you can learn a lot from a person. And I'm really looking forward to working with Rick and the whole management team, and I think we'll have a great year. And it's going to be difficult, but I'm looking forward to it. But I failed to mention it before, and I should have. I'd also like to thank the good people of Ivitt Ward for electing me. And without those people, I would never have this opportunity. But if it wasn't for my wife and my family and my friends, then I would never have got elected either. So I'd just like to thank them as well, because it's difficult being on council, and if you haven't got that family support, you just can't do it. So we have a lot to be thankful for, and I will make the most of this opportunity. So thank you, everybody.
Any other speakers? Councillor Champion.
I'll just say briefly that I'm really excited. This is going to be a great year.
Terrific. Anyone else? Otherwise, I might just take the opportunity to make a few brief comments with the mask off. Thank you, Councillor Malikan, for accepting our nomination and being our Deputy Mayor. I think in this first year at council, we will complement each other very well. And I know we as a council will be drawing enormously on your leadership and experience. And I thank you too for your comments around just the context of which you've assumed the role. And I think it was really important to, note to the community in our discussions over the weekend and in the culmination this evening, we came together with some principles about how we're going to operate as a council around supporting one another and rewarding on merit and value add to the community and the best person for the job each year and every year. And we're operating already as a group of 9 at a level of openness and transparency that's higher than in my previous 2 terms as a councillor. No closed doors, no secret agreements. I think we're stepping up to a level as a council for our community that we may never have been at before. And so I'm just in that context and the comments made by our Deputy Mayor, thank you, and I really look forward to working with you in this role. With that item resolved, we'll now move on to item 6.5, a vote of thanks to the outgoing Mayor and Deputy Mayor. Do I have a mover for the item? Councillor Malikan, and a seconder? Councillor Neely. All those in favour? Carried. Do we speak on the item? Sorry, I'm learning. Councillor Malakan.
Yeah, I'd just like to say it's been an extremely difficult year, but it's been amazing. We were a close group of councillors prior to this year, but I think the impact of the coronavirus actually forced us even closer together. The discussions we had, the agreements we came to, I think were outstanding, and led by Alison and Rick. We achieved an amazing amount this year under very trying circumstances. I think if you talk to the CEO, the staff very appreciated the support that we offered all staff, the things we did to make sure that the people's jobs were protected, and everything we did was, first class. And I know we didn't get to go to many of the fun things. As I think about us when you're there, you didn't get to. There was no community balls, there was no volunteer nights, there was no citizenship ceremonies, all those really enjoyable evenings we have. There was no MAV state councils, there was none of those opportunities to be out there with people and just enjoying the company of other people. It was a real shame that Councillor Champion missed out on those opportunities this year. But I think as a group we really did bond together. And we achieved some amazing things. I think the support package we produced, affirmed, changed and then affirmed again was, I think, the best support package by any council in Victoria, by far. And I think the support we gave to the people in the most need, the support we gave to our businesses, our sporting clubs, our community groups was outstanding. And I think it was a real credit to this group. And that was led by Councillor Champion and also Councillor Garotti. And the jobs program that was so successful continued through this year under very difficult circumstances. I think that was a real credit to us as well. And we, at the same time, we still managed to implement many of the climate change initiatives we foreshadowed at the start of the year. We still delivered on those. So it was an outstanding year led by you two. We achieved so much under very difficult circumstances. But I think our biggest achievement was just bonding together and showing a very united face to the staff and to all the residents. And it was a very impressive year under incredibly difficult circumstances, and I'd like to thank you both for your efforts.
Thank you, Councillor Malakan. Seconder, would you like to say something? No? Do we have anyone else who would like to comment? Councillor Di Pasquale.
Thank you, Mayor. It would be amiss if I don't congratulate our Mayor, our former Mayor and our former Deputy Mayor, now our Mayor. Councillor Garotti, I've already mentioned some important words for yourself, and congratulations on the year you have had, and this is the reason why you are now our Mayor, because of the solid work you have done and the support that you have supplied for this community. And our the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor aren't an elected role by the community. So it'd be a whole different story if we had to go to an election for the community to elect the Mayor or the Deputy Mayor, like, for example, Melbourne City Council. But it's totally different here. We as the Nine make the decision of who's going to be the leaders of our team. So with that goes responsibility, because I understand that the Bakewell community who did elect me they're not necessarily voting for the Mayor or the Deputy Mayor right now. They're entrusting me to do that on their behalf, that I'm going to put forward the best opportunity for this team and for the work that needs to be done on their behalf. And in saying that, I can only acknowledge the year that has been, and Councillor Garotti and especially Councillor Champion, who was our former Mayor. Congratulations on the year that you have had. It's very rare that you would be Mayor in the first term as a councillor. Very, very rare. The reason being is because there's a lot of learnings that you need to take on. There's a lot of intricate team play and teamwork that you need to work around. And the first couple of years, look, you're trying to get your head around who's who in your community and what needs there actually are. And then before the end of the third year, you're already thinking about, okay, there's an election coming up, what's going to happen? So the first term of a councillor is whirlwind. It's only within the second term as a councillor do you really settle and you start to understand what needs to be done as a councillor. So not only in the first term did you get the role as the mayor, you also had the role as our mayor during COVID time. Now, I think it's a blessing for our community that you were our mayor during this time. I think it would have been a disadvantage having a mayor that had done the role before during this COVID time. The reason I say that is because if you had a previous mayor that has done it last year, and it's for their second time, third time, or whatever it is, they would have always been comparing how their previous mayor roles were to COVID-19. And that would have been no comparison whatsoever. They would have just been coming into the office probably with an outlook or an attitude of, this shouldn't be this way. It wasn't like this in the past. It shouldn't be this way. So I would suggest 50% of the time they would just throw in the towel and just go, right, I'm just going to see the year out and do not much. But you didn't do that. You actually stepped up. You looked at every area of the community and you looked to see where was the possibility and the potential to give more and more to this community. And that was inspiring. The other 6 councillors found that very inspiring. So we were out there not saying this is not the way that our community should be functioning now. We didn't have our community events. We didn't have all the festivals. We didn't have anything pretty much community. We weren't sitting there saying, let's get rid of this year and then let's just move into next year. We were making the best of every single opportunity. And I hope out there in the community that you saw that we were still engaging. We were still trying to get as much interaction in the community as possible because we were trying really, really hard. So thank you very much for that inspiration. And that is exactly what a mayor has to do. So congratulations on a fantastic year. Trying times, but it doesn't matter. It was the best year, irregardless of what happened that was out of our control as well. So congratulations. Thank you, Mayor, for that opportunity.
Councillor Castaldo.
I'd just also like to elaborate a little bit further around the past mayor, Alison Champion. She did an exceptional job. It was her first term, year 4 for her. She really stepped up, and each leader that we'd had over that term brought something new, and you really excelled in including everyone. Whenever you facilitated any type of event, you just did a fantastic job. And I think anyone that can continue in the shadow of that is doing an excellent job, because you really did do a wonderful job bringing everyone together, making everyone feel part of this council and be proud to be part of this council. So thank you for that.
Any other councillors who'd like to speak? Mover, would you... Oh, sorry, Councillor Champion.
Thank you very much for those very generous words from all of you. It was a year. That was it. It wasn't, for me, it wasn't a disappointing year. I didn't feel that I was disadvantaged in any way. It was just a year. And we're moving through it now. We're getting closer to being able to be together. The restrictions are lifting. And I always knew we would get through this, because we get through everything. We always do. This time last year when I was elected, and it was this night last year that I was elected to mayor, I did have visions of what this year would be. 2020 was going to be an awesome year. We were going to participate in the Oxfam Trail Walker. That was going to happen. And that didn't happen, did it? No. We still trained for it though. And I was going to turn 50. And that still happened. And I got my party, just. And I was going to be the Mayor of Banyule. And it was a year that was different from many other mayors' roles and many other councillors' roles. However, it was my year. It was a year. And I'm really glad it was. Because it allowed for me to be out of my comfort zone. It allowed for me to think differently from the expectations. It allowed for me to be the new version of me, the best version of me that I could be, to lead not only the councillor group, but also our city through this. It allowed for some very challenging conversations, which allowed for me to grow. And that's actually so much more important and more valuable to you as the community than it is for me to be part of all the many celebrations that we have annually, which we all did miss, honestly. Councillor Mark, you're absolutely right. If it was any year to be a mayor, it was this year. Absolutely right. And I didn't have any other. I didn't have a comparison. I didn't know any other way, and I'm glad. And I'm also really glad that Councillor Rick was my deputy. And as I said at the end of our last meeting, last term, we were the most distant of councillors. We had very little in common. And during last year, we got to know each other a lot better. And I'm really, really glad we did. For the first 2 years, 2.5 years, officers would ask me, "So are you enjoying council?" And I would say, "Oh, it has its moments." And it took me about 2.5 years to 3 years before I could actually say, "Yes, I'm enjoying council." And what a year to be enjoying it. So thank you to my community, to the officers, whom I got to know so much better during my role as mayor. Thank you to my fellow councillors. And thank you to my boys, Nicholas and Christopher, for being who you are, which allowed me to be the Mayor of Banyule during COVID. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? I might just take the opportunity myself then to make a few brief comments. Look, there's been a lot of talk about how last year, I should say this year, was an atypical year for a mayor and not given the opportunity to attend events and preside over functions and the like. But I think what may have gone unnoticed for the general public was just, I think it was the most important year possibly in the history of Banyule to be the mayor. And I actually think Alice and Councillor Champion did a terrific job. We had a new CEO who stepped up amazingly and brilliantly, but there were many, many big decisions that needed to be made quickly, promptly. And I know that the CEO benefited enormously from being able to get on the phone and to workshop it with the mayor, and make sure that from a councillor and community perspective things were okay, to get that advice and to get that support. And that's how we got through COVID. And that's how we also put together the range of packages that we did to support our community and our business and residents. And so yes, our mayor we didn't get to see you presiding over a community ball or the mayoral dance, but the work that you did behind the scenes, on the phone, supporting our CEO, coaching and supporting the rest of us, that's the real work of a leader. That's the real work of a mayor. That's what I aspire to and look up to when I said you're a big inspiration for me in taking this role on. So thank you for that work. I think we've got to have a vote, sorry. So I now put in motion all those for and all those against. Carried. Thank you. Item 6.6, vote of thanks to outgoing councillors. So I'll be looking for a mover, Councillor Malikan, and a seconder, Councillor Champion. Councillor Malikan, would you like to speak?
I'm sorry I'm speaking so much. I promise you I won't continue to do this, and as people know, I don't usually speak that much at meetings. But I've been thinking about this for a couple of days now. What do you say about Craig Langdon and Wayne Phillips? When you look back at their history and their achievements with Craig, it was the City of Heidelberg, state government, then the City of Banyule. And with Wayne, it was the Shire of Diamond Valley, state member, and then the City of Banyule. You're looking at over 60 years of public service from these two gentlemen. Over 60 years. That's an incredible achievement. And from a personal level, the advice, the support, the knowledge, the experience that these two men had was just extraordinary, just absolutely extraordinary. And I know we didn't always agree, and I remember I couldn't believe how often I was wrong when Wayne first got elected. And I know sometimes it could get a bit heated, but that came out of the passion that Wayne had for many, many issues. And Craig was always very levelled in his discussion, but they both had an incredible sense of humour, which they also brought to the table. And in very pressured moments, Wayne could always be relied on to just relieve the pressure and tell a little joke. Wasn't always funny, but it always attempted to relieve that joke. And I think being on council is tough. It can be really tough because you're thrust together, people you don't know, people you might not always agree with, people from totally different backgrounds. But because you are under that pressure all the time, you bond together. And when you've been on council with people for 15 years, you build a bond. And it's quite sad to see them go. It's actually quite, it's once that time passes, it'll never come back. And that's quite sad. But then the other side of the coin is that change is inevitable, change is good, and change is necessary. And I look around the room and we see 4 great new councillors. And as I said, knowledge and experience are fantastic things, but youth and enthusiasm are just as important, just as important. And life must change, people must move on, and other people get an opportunity. So when that happens, it is difficult and it can be a bit upsetting. And we need to acknowledge that. But it's going to happen one day. It'll happen to all of us one day. And we've got to be prepared for that. But then, if you look back, these two men have given an enormous amount to the City of Heidelberg, to the Shire of Diamond Valley, to the State of Victoria, and the City of Banyule. And we are better off as a city because of their efforts over a long period of time. You only got to look at the list of committees they served on to realise the amount of work they put in and the amount of benefit they provided. So we'll miss them greatly. I'll miss them personally. I wish them the best, whatever they do next. But on behalf of the City of Banyule and the State of Victoria, I'd like to thank both of them for their incredible efforts and their dedication. And sometimes those efforts and those dedication comes at a cost, a personal cost and a cost to your family. So when you look at what they have contributed over such a long period of time, it is a credit to both of them. So I'd like to thank them for their efforts. I will miss them, but we must move on. And I'm looking forward to the new council, but I'm just looking back and it's a bit sad to look back. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Councillor Malikan. Councillor Champion.
Thank you very much. I'll just speak briefly. I would actually very much like to thank former Councillor Wayne Phillips and former Councillor Craig Langdon for their knowledge. What this council has just lost is 60 years of knowledge of history. that isn't going to be brought to the table because others sitting here haven't been sitting there for that long. So it isn't just two human beings who are no longer sitting here. In this case, it's around 60 years of history. And that is significant in the conversations we have moving into the future. Just trying to think for a moment. What's her name? Susanna Wesley. Susanna Wesley was the founder of the Presbyterian Church. And she said, never look back unless you want to go that way. But reflecting on former Councillor Wayne Phillips and former Councillor Craig Langdon's contribution over the total of around 60 years is not looking back. It is simply acknowledging the high level of experience that we won't have. And while they are only a phone call away, and we can ring them, they aren't present in the room. And that's okay, because they are only a phone call away. And I would like to thank them considerably for their support, certainly of me, during my first term on council, when they have expressed to me and to you, the community, to our council, that they are actually very surprised about my performance, especially during this term. So I'm a little bit sorry that they're not present, just because I can't share with them my history and my experience. However, they are a phone call away if we do need them. So thank you, former Councillor Wayne, thank you, former Councillor Craig, for all that you have done for us and for your support and for me in your time.
Councillor De Pasquale.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, definitely would like an opportunity to personally thank Councillor Phillips and Councillor Langdon for their many, many years of service over the years. Look, if I speak to them personally, Mayor, I don't know would they be listening? I'm not sure whether they would be listening to the live stream. I'm pretty sure Councillor Phillips would probably not be listening. He'll be waiting for feedback on how it all went. And look, I'm sure Councillor Langdon will be listening. But to you personally, Banyule has lost an amazing amount of experience. That's the first thing that we're left with. So a lot of experience has gone. But by no means is that experience ended. So they can also be resources in the future as well. I mean, there's massive, massive resource there with regards to Councillor Phillips in, planning and, just generally how council works, etc. Councillor Langdon as well in the south end of our municipality. There was nobody I know on the face of this earth that knows the community better. He would walk all the streets, report all the shopping trolleys. On a Monday morning, staff would be sitting there, sitting through emails of customer requests that have been put in by Councillor Langdon because he'd been for a walk over the weekend, and he would do that most weekends. He was just so committed, and they were both so committed to the community. So that's the first thing that we're left with which is a lack of experience now between the whole team, but on behalf of the community as well. What we also need to acknowledge as well is that the plans that have been played out for Banyule, be it this building which we sit in, Watermark, developments around the northern end of the municipality, into the southern end now as well, Ivanhoe Library, the hub, etc., was all a 12 to 15 year plan where former councillors started the ball rolling. We don't just get together here as a team of 9 now in 4 years and all of a sudden make a decision to now build over $100 to $120 million of infrastructure. That happens over 3, 4, 5 terms. It's a building process, and that's why it's so important for a councillor team to get along. Because if a councillor team doesn't get along, you could almost wave goodbye to 4 years of progression in a community. So it's very important to understand. Now, normally what we would have, Mayor, is we'd have the gallery here. We would also have family, friends. Councillor Phillips, Councillor Langdon would also be here, so we could acknowledge them in person. We could thank them. Members of the community could thank them as well. We don't have that opportunity. So I don't want this as a simple, elections finished, they didn't win, okay, see you later, we're not going to see you again or speak to you again. I will personally be in contact with them many, many times. I'm sure various councillors will, and also many people of the community as well. I do implore you out there in the community to get in touch with your former councillors. Make sure, if you have any questions that haven't been finished up on, or you have more advice that you need, I'm sure they're available there for you too as well. So just bear that in mind. So by no means they are going to be a sounding board for a lot of us, okay, with regards to advice. And I think this community couldn't necessarily go on if we didn't take the experience of our past councillors too. And we have many of them, and I throw all our past councillors as well into that category too. But tonight in particular, thank you very much to Councillor Phillips, Councillor Langdon, for your many years of devoted experience and your expertise on behalf of this community. Thank you very much, Mayor, for that opportunity.
Thank you. Any other speakers? I'll just make a very brief comment to note that recently I think many of us have followed the US elections, and one thing that I observed out of the US is that a person's title stays with them after they've left the role. So Vice President Biden, Senator, President Donald Trump will be President Trump. And it's a sign of respect for the highest level of position that person achieved in public service. And I think it's a really nice feature that comes out of America. The reason I say that is that in my book, I will always look at Craig Langdon and Wayne Phillips as Mayor Langdon and Mayor Phillips. And that's the esteem that I will always hold them in going forward. Thank you. Mover, would you like a right of reply? I now put the motion. All of those for? Any against? I declare the motion carried. The final item of business for this evening is the appointment of councillors on committees. Annually, Council appoints councillor delegates to the council advisory committees and other committees. I'll ask our Director, Mark Gillio, Director for Corporate Services, to read out the recommended appointments to the committees.
Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, I'll read out the biennial committees. I'll read out the delegate and then the substitutes. So firstly, the Audit and Risk Committee. Delegates Councillor Peter Castaldo and Councillor Mark Di Pasquale. Substitute Councillor Peter de Morelos. The Chief Executive Officer Employment Matters Committee. Delegates are all councillors. External committees. The Darebin Creek Management Committee. A delegate Councillor Alida McKern, with a substitute being Councillor Peter de Morelos. Metropolitan Transport Forum. A delegate Councillor Tom Melican, substitute being Councillor Alida McKern. Metropolitan Waste Resource Recovery Group. Delegate Councillor Peter Castaldo and substitutes Councillor Peter de Morelos and Councillor Alida McKern. Northern Alliance for Greenhouse Action. Delegate Councillor Alida McKern, substitute Councillor Peter Castaldo. Northern Council Alliance. Delegates Councillor Fiona Mitsa-Nikos and Councillor Tom Melican and substitute Councillor Peter Castaldo. Yarra Plenty Regional Library Board. Delegates Councillor Alison Champion and Councillor Tom Melican, substitute Councillor Elizabeth Neely. Yarra Plenty Regional Library Audit Committee, one board member and one proxy. Delegate Councillor Alison Champion and Councillor Tom Melican, and substitute Councillor Elizabeth Neely. And finally, the Municipal Association of Victoria Committees and State Council and MAV State Council representatives, Delegate Councillor Tom Melican, and substitutes Councillor Elizabeth Neely and Councillor Peter Demorelos. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Director Giglio. Can I have a councillor move the recommendation? Move Councillor Champion, seconded Councillor Mitzinikos. Would the mover like to speak? Would our seconder like to speak? Would any other councillor like to speak? Councillor Melican.
I promised I wouldn't speak anymore. Didn't last long, did it? Yes, and I'd just like to point out that some of those committees haven't been fully filled. Our advisory committees have not been filled as yet. They will be. I know that many of the councillors have expressed interest in those, but it was thought appropriate that at the start of a new council term that we would look at some of those advisory committees to find out whether they are performing the role that we would like them to perform, or whether they need to be changed, or whether the new responsibilities added. So we'll be doing that as quickly as possible, and then appointing councillors to those different advisory committees. And I'd actually like to thank the community, because the amount of passion and energy that goes into those committees from our community is sensational, and we don't want to diminish that. We actually want to improve that, and we're going through this whole new consultation process, and we're very committed to that as well. So as soon as possible, we'll be naming those new committees, or the councillors on those committees, and I look forward to that as well. But also the existing external committees, they are super important, and I'm very, very pleased to see so many new councillors wanting to get involved, and all that shows that real commitment and that wanting to learn. There is so much to learn. Some of those external committees are extremely active, extremely challenging, but you learn so much. You get to meet colleagues from other councils, and it's a very rewarding thing to do. So I encourage them to continue that. And the library service, it's been a fantastic. I think the library board is in a great space at the moment, and that I think that will continue. But those in committees are incredibly important. It's good that people are actually fighting to get onto those committees, and I'm very pleased to see that. Very pleased, because it shows that commitment and that willingness to learn. So I'm very happy to support this tonight. It's good to change the delegates around just so people experience different things, because we all know lots of things, but it's important to actually try and broaden your knowledge of into other areas as you go along in through council. So really encourage fellow councillors to get involved. You're not on council for a long time. I would encourage everyone to make the most of the opportunities, and being on these committees certainly does that.
Thank you. Any other speaker? Councillor De Pasquale.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, just echoing Deputy Melican's words, we do have many committee members in the community who are looking to see who the delegates are and, the substitutes, and it has been a trying year. We do understand with regards to being able to hold these meetings. It hasn't been easy, but as we come out of COVID now and through Christmas as well, there's generally a little bit of a pause, Mayor, with regards to Christmas break, with regards to most of our committees. And this is a perfect opportunity that Banyule Council in January and February are embarking on a community vision, which it does have the opportunity to review the committees and review, how they're going, etc. But it also gives us a chance to review whether there are some committees that we need that we're falling short of. Who knows, maybe these times that we're going through now, there needs to be some other form of some other committee or new committee, etc. So that would then be able to be explored there, Mayor. So we've decided to hold this off just for a moment, just so that we can go through that review and make sure that all the committees align and that there isn't any area of the community that is missing out. The second reason why we should do this, Mayor, is because declarations for the election were actually brought up a bit earlier. And councillors, particularly new councillors, have been thrown into the into the pool, so to speak, into the deep end a lot quicker. And we've been trying to get our head around the delegate and the substitute and what it means with regards to time, commitment, etc. So to take a step back, have a little bit of a review, take a breath, and then also allow those committees to establish how 2021 will look coming out of COVID, I think is a really good opportunity for the entire organisation. So this is part of what we're voting on tonight. So just happy to recommend that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Well, in that case, I'll now put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? That is carried. This concludes the formal proceedings for the evening. Our first ordinary meeting of Council will be held on Monday the 23rd of November 2020 via video stream. I now close the meeting at 8:26 p.m. and thank all those in attendance and particularly those who have watched us from home. Thank you.